Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my channel once again. Here I am going to be doing 10 cards and one kit from the Simon Says Stamp May 2018 card kit. So right here I'm just showing you what all was included in the card kit. I'm just going to read it off the thing so that way you have the correct name. So I do have the Take Heart 3x4 clear stamps, Simon Says Stamp exclusive everything together 6x8 clear stamps, Pink Fresh Studio Let Your Heart Decide epoxy heart stickers, Pink Fresh Studio Let Your Heart Decide puffy stickers, 16 single-sided sheets of Pink Fresh Studio Let Your Heart Decide paper pack, Simon Says Stamp Heart Wafer Die, Simon Says Stamp Spring Rain and Melon Mini Hybrid Ink Cubes, one Simon Says Stamp metallic ivory envelope, one sheet of Simon Says Stamp masking paper, 3-pack of Simon Says Stamp smoke folded note cards, one sheet of Simon Says Stamp 100-pound cardstocks in orange peel and Audrey blue and ivory. So here's card number 1 that I'm working with, and I'm using my stamping platform here to stamp some of the faux stitching that comes in the larger stamp set. And I am using one of my distress inks in iced spruce or spruced ice, and then I'm just using the small ink cubes that came in the kit plus the 2 other small ink cubes that came in a previous kit. I believe it was the March one, or the pink and purple ink cubes come in, and I kind of do some stamping with all these colors, and then the leaves I do stamp them with some distress oxides. I use Lucky Clover and Citrus Citron or Twisted Citron and then I stamped a bunch of the little small dots that came in the larger stamp set. And then I grabbed a piece of vellum paper that you see on here, which I laid on top of the card to give me the area that I needed to stamp. And then I'm using some Ranger clear embossing ink, and I went ahead and stamped that. So I am going to be using some gold embossing powder from Love from Lizzie. And I usually use my Gina K Designs gold fine detail embossing powder, but I really like the finished, I don't know what was the word I'm looking for, like the way it's really nice gold and it looks really nice. So you'll see in the end result what I mean. It's just a really nice gold crisp color that I really liked working with. So as you can see here, some of the embossing powder didn't really stick, but I'm not going to sweat it too much because once I heat set it, it almost kind of fills in the little gaps, and it doesn't look like there's much that's missing. So that's one of the reasons why I like this powder. So once I heat set everything, I grab my vellum paper and my paper trimmer and just cut it down to size to fit the panel, or the front to be the panel to be in front of the card there to kind of match what I have going on. So I just cut it down to the proper size, and to adhere it, all I do is use some of the regular like clear adhesive, and I just kind of run it along the back side of where the letters are, and that way you don't see it. But I end up going back and actually adding a little bit to the corners of the vellum paper, and you can't really tell. You really can't. I guess because it's the white, and then the vellum did lay on some color, so you can't really tell if you looked at it. Next, I decided that I wanted to actually add some of that embossing to the edges, and I kind of wanted to have the look of distress, like it was, I don't know, it just looked kind of like that messy but nice look. That's what I was looking for and looking to make anyways, but I don't know if I pulled it off or not. You let me know. So here you'll see where I'm adding the adhesive towards the back of the lettering here, and then I'm just adding that to my card base here. Now with vellum, I have learned that you have to not run your hands so harshly onto the embossed areas, because if not, the stuff will chip. Like, I've done that, and you'll see it in another card where I did that and it kind of chipped off, so I just kind of had to fill in the gaps. This is the finished card from the front. On the inside, I went ahead and stamped "Missing You Like Crazy" in VersaFine black ink. Next card, card number 2, I'm working with the turquoise cardstock here, and then I'm using the yellow like wonky pattern or stamp pattern like pattern paper, and then I'm using the green one that has the same pattern, and then I'm using the pattern paper that has like all the coffee and the notepad and the camera. I'm using that pattern paper, and then I'm kind of laying them down cattywampus, like wonky style, and I've been really liking that style lately in cards. I think it just adds a nice little interest to your card if you're making a more simpler card. And I just trim off the edges with my scissors. Next, I thought that I needed something to kind of be a background for some of the stickers, so that way the stickers stand out from the busyness of the background. And I grab the yellow ink pad, and I use my blender tool and blend the circle there. And then I grab the coffee, I don't know, it looks more like a tea steamer thingy, but a coffee pitcher and the coffee cup, and I put them kind of like together but at an angle, and I put those down. Then I decided that I wanted to use some of that vellum to add my front sentiment. So I put "Let's Catch Up Soon" in VersaFine black ink, and then I use some Wow black embossing powder, and I heat set that up, and then I cut that piece of vellum paper to size, just to kind of fit a little bit, to be a little bit more narrow. And then I do the same thing that I did on the first card. I run my tape adhesive in the back where the letters are, and then I do add a little bit to the corners as well, so that way the vellum doesn't curl up at all on the card. And here I'm just making sure that where I'm laying that down, just to make sure that it's kind of centered. And these cards, I kind of did them on a fly. Usually I like to sketch a little bit before I start working on cards, but one, I didn't have time because I did have to work and stuff, so I didn't have time to really do a whole lot of planning, and so I kind of was playing around with the stuff as I was filming, and I think they came together pretty nicely. As I was playing with the stuff, I would get different ideas, so I think this was a fun way to do it, but it's more time consuming because you don't know really what your game plan is. But anyways, I laid down the vellum, and now I'm going to grab one of those green small puffy stickers and add that towards the middle. And then I also grabbed that yellow kind of like melted look or melted, I don't know, effect sticker that is on there, or like a drip like, and I added towards the bottom. I just thought it went well together. On the inside, I just grabbed I trimmed down some white cardstock paper from my stash, and I went ahead and stamped "Missing You" like crazy. And for some reason, I didn't get a good impression, and so I just grabbed one of my markers and filled in the gaps where the stamped area didn't get a good impression. So let's catch up soon. Miss you like crazy. I thought this was a fine, cute little card. I really liked it. On to the next card number 3. So that pattern paper that has a bunch of little squares with a lot of nice sentiments or quotes, I went ahead and cut them all, and I picked the 3 that kind of go along dealing with anything that mentioned the heart, and so I went ahead and chose those 3. And then I have this die from my stash that looks like a frame, and I cut a bunch of those, or 3 of the frames, in my craft cardstock that I had from my stash. And then I did use some scraps from the yellow and green wonky pattern to cut out the background of the heart die and the actual word heart. And then I used this like washi tape pattern paper and make like a triangle and tape that down to the one side of the card. And then I'm just trying to see where I'm gonna put all my pieces. This middle strip here, that blue strip, is from that washi tape pattern paper that I cut out. So I did use the some fun foam to pop these frames up from the card. And all I did to secure this is to secure the frames to the square quotes is just glue. And I went ahead and added the heart dyed sentiment on there. And then now I'm grabbing some more vellum paper, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment, "I love your kind," with some clear embossing ink from Ranger. And then I'm using some fine detail white embossing powder from Gina K Designs. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim that part down to size to fit that blue strip of paper I added towards the middle of the card. And then I'm going to run my tape adhesive in the back of the embossed area, so that way you can't really tell. Now this is the part where I kind of rubbed off the eye on kind. Because it is a slick surface, it tends to come off if you rub it too hard. So all I did is I grabbed my white Uniball Signal pen and filled in the eye with that, and then I let it dry. And you can't tell. Then I used the foam squares to pop up the word heart, and then I have this rounder punch to round out the edges of this card. I've been really liking that look lately, so I've been going crazy with the rounding edges of cards. And then in the inside I stamped "You are simply the best ever" in the with the spring rain ink cube. And this is the finished card. Card number 4. So I decided to use the die and these 2 pattern papers, the one with all the hearts and then the other one with the faint pattern yellow pattern paper. So all I'm doing is grabbing the heart pattern paper And at first I decided to do both the shadow and the actual word heart in the same pattern paper. So I'm running them through my Sidekick here. And once I popped them out, I decided that I wanted the actual word heart to pop out and be more visible. It kind of got lost because the pattern paper is so busy. So I decided to grab some of my craft cardstock from my stash and do the word heart in the craft and then the shadow in the heart pattern paper. Then I'm trimming up the fainted kind of, I think it's like triangular yellow pattern paper, and I'm cutting it to size to kind of leave a little bit of the turquoise to come out from the borders there. And then I'm just using my tape adhesive to lay down my panel. And like I said, I didn't have a sketch, so I was kind of winging all of these cards and kind of planning as I went. And I laid down these heart sentiments that I had die cut, and I'm trying to see where I want to have them lay before I glue anything down. Once I figure out where I want them, I start gluing them down with some tacky glue, and then I grab the puffy stickers and start deciding where I want those to go. Oh, but before that, I actually had grabbed the sentiment, I love your kind, or I love your beautiful, and then it was supposed to say heart, and it just didn't look nice. So then I had to get the puffy stickers. This is where I get the puffy stickers, and figure out a way to cover my mess. So I'm deciding what fits in there and what would look good as well. So I decided on that good black circular puffy sticker, and I actually use a dimensional, or not a dimensional, but one of those foam tapes to pop it up a little bit. And I use a bunch of epoxy heart stickers and the puffy heart stickers to coordinate with each other and make some type of pattern here. So I'm grabbing a bunch of sizes and just laying them down to fill in some of the gaps. And next to the good circular black sentiment puffy sticker, I added one of the hearts, and I did have to cut it down a little bit to size so that it would fit nicely in there. And then I grabbed one of the yellow little smaller heart puffy stickers and added towards the bottom there. I really did like the end result. I thought all of the colors really went well, especially because of the shadow effect that I used, that heart pattern paper for the sentiment heart. I thought it really went well together. On the inside, I grabbed some of the craft paper and I used the puffy sticker amazing, and then at the top I stamp you have a beautiful, amazing, and then stamp the word heart, so that way it reads, you have a beautiful, amazing heart. Good heart all over in the front and heart in the inside. So I thought that was a really nice card. I really had fun making this one, actually, really did. Oh, and before finishing the card, I actually round off only one side of the card. Really nice. Okay, so here is the last card. I'm using some watercolor paper. It's Strathmore 140-pound cold press watercolor paper, and I embossed the hummingbird with the flower stamp on there, and then I used some Gina K Designs fine detail white embossing powder and he'd set that on there. And you can hardly tell that the image is on there. It's hard to see on the camera, but it's there. It's kind of a little hard to do some coloring. I had to look at the image to make sure I was coloring the right thing. So I used my Arteza watercolor brush pens, and I grabbed a couple colors that I thought it would look nice together. And all I'm doing is I'm dipping a little bit of the Arteza brush towards the areas where I want it to be darker, and then I grab my watercolor brush and dip it in some water and then blend from the dark area up, so that way I get a nice faded color towards the top, and then in the inside of the flowers the darker areas would be towards the center. And I kind of do that same method throughout everything. So here you'll see I'm laying down a dark blue color where I think the shading should be, and then when I go in with my water, I'll go ahead and from the shaded areas pull out, so that way I get a nice lighter color where the areas I think there should be light. Now you don't have to color with keeping any light sources in mind. I definitely am not an expert at that, but I did want to give some type of, I don't know, not dimension, but kind of interest and shading to my image here. I just think it makes it a little bit more realistic, or it just makes it pop off a little bit more than just a flat image, but you don't have to do that. So here I'm doing the same thing with the green. I'm just faintly adding a little bit of a dark green. The Arteza brush pens do not come with colors, at least not my set. My set didn't come with any colors. If you have Arteza brush pens and you have colors, I don't know what the difference would be. My husband bought these in Christmas as a Christmas gift to me. So he bought them, I think, on Amazon, and they didn't come with any names. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I just go based on the color, and usually I don't have swatches, so every time I'm gonna color I just kind of do a line on the paper I'm working with and check if that's a color that I want. And so then I just grabbed a darker and then the lighter, and then I'm blending them out with some water. So the leaves are so small you can't really tell, but on the larger leaves you can see the variation of the dark with the light on there. And I'm not the neatest person when it comes to coloring. Like, I always have butt luck, so I always go off the lines. So a tip to kind of clean it up is just clean your brush with water and go over the area that you messed up, and it might look like you're smudging it more. Then go back with some water, clean your brush, go back with some water and do it again, and then either with your finger or with some cloth clean it up and it goes away. So watercolor is pretty forgiving. And now I'm just doing the hummingbird, but I really like this stamp set, so I ended up actually purchasing one that came in the kit, and I ended up purchasing an additional stamp set that had this image here. It is called Take Heart, and I thought it was really nice. And so the reason I took my time with showing you this image and the process that I did is because this is part of the giveaway. So I'll give you more details towards the end if you wait. So I went ahead and I used an embossing folder from my stash. Now, at the time that I filmed this, I did not have a die cut machine. I am happy to announce that I now have a die cut machine. an actual large one, not the Sidekick. And I used the ice cream scoop, anything hard really, to emboss this. And I used peacock feathers, distress oxide, and antique linen to give this effect in the background, so that way the embossed areas pop out. And then I glued down my image here. I did some distressing, folded some of the edges of this image that I colored, and then I used antique linen to distress it even more. I did use the hard dye with watercolor paper. I used my Arteza brush pen and did some shading on the downstrokes of the word heart. And on the inside, I did stamp simply the best ever and that little puffy heart sticker on the inside. Now to the giveaway. So this is part of the giveaway for having 500 plus subscribers. I thank you so much for your support and for watching my videos and liking my videos. I really do appreciate all the love and support. So I wanted to give something back to you guys. And so this is the giveaway. It's two embossing folders that come in this pack here. I did use it, so you will see the packaging. I couldn't get it quite in there, so the packaging's kind of wonky, but two embossing folders come in there. And I decided to add this die to the giveaway, so you get the embossing folders, or two in a pack, and then this fancy die here from We Are Memories Keepers, and this stamp set, the Take Heart stamp set. So I originally had planned to just give this stamp, and then I decided, you know what, I want to give the card kit. But by the time I went to go get another card kit, they were already sold out. So I went ahead with my original idea, and then I decided I want to add something more. I just feel that the stamp set is it needs companions. So this is the bundle that one lucky winner will get. So if you want to go ahead and enter the giveaway, the instructions will be down in the description below. I just figured it'd be easier than to talk about it. So look for the instructions on the description below. And like always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and part 2 will be out soon. And if you are not a subscriber and you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below or my picture. And until next time, bye bye.